What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Revival, and my name is JJ. Today I thought that I would talk a little bit about a convention that I went to at the time of recording this was last week, MOGameCon 2018. Had a really great time. Basically, for those of you who don't know, it's just a big retro gaming convention with a bunch of vendors selling stuff, and then podcasters were there, and some people from just a lot of people from the hobby. The MJR Crew was there, and it was just an absolute blast. And I love just getting to. It was like Christmas, basically, just getting to walk around and see all these old school games and talk to people about just the hobby in general, and you know, people just reminiscing about memories they had with different games or what they wanted to see, like hopefully they come out with a new one of these, you know, that kind of stuff. And it was just really, really cool. I got to meet people like Radical Reggie, Metal Jesus, Kinsey was there, Kelsey was there, and Adam Koralik was there, John Riggs was there, and it was just really, really cool to just be able to walk around and just see these people, because I mean they were there, aside from like obviously when they were doing their panels and stuff, you know, they were there doing the same thing. They were just walking around looking at games and talking to people and just hanging out, and that was just really, really neat. I was lucky enough to get one of the VIP tickets that they had, and so I got to go in an hour early, which was cool. Because of that, I was able to get in and see like all the stuff that was on sale before the huge crowd came in and hit. So, I mean, I got first pick, but at the same time, like, I don't know, I'm always hesitant to buy stuff right off the bat, because towards the end of the day, like, you might get cheaper deals because they might be like, oh, I don't want to lug all this stuff back, so they might be a little more open to giving you stuff. But at the same time, if you don't jump on certain things quickly, they might be gone by the time you leave. And it was just really, really cool just to be able to be a part of that. Got this T-shirt, obviously, for it, and I remember the first person the first YouTube personality there that I talked to was Radical Reggie, and he was just looking at some games over there, and I was like, I'm just so awkward when it comes to people that, like, I know that don't know me, obviously. It's like, you know, you watch their videos all the time and stuff, and so it's a little surreal to just see them out in the wild, as it were. But I mean, they're literally, like I said, just doing the exact same things that everybody else was, just looking for games and doing pretty much exactly what they say they do on their channel. It was just really cool. So I saw him, and I kind of like walked over and I was like, hey man, I just wanted to let you know I really appreciate what you do, and we sat and we kind of talked a little bit about Star Ocean for a little bit. I don't know too many people that I can talk to Star Ocean about, because a lot of my friends have not played it, or they have played it and they're not super into it, at least not as much as I am. So that was really, really cool to you know, be able to talk to somebody who really, really appreciates that series and loves it for what it is. And so I got a picture with him, and then a little bit later on, and I posted this on my Twitter as well. I saw Kinsey and Metal Jesus, John Riggs just walking around. They were talking. I think they were looking at some Atari games, and God, I'm so freaking awkward when it comes to like asking anybody for like pictures, and I just remember, like, I don't even remember that much of it because I blocked most of it out, but I remember kind of like, you know, going up kind of close and slowly and just being like, I don't want to bother them, but I really want to get a picture. So like, I'm all shaking and stuff, and I was like, excuse me, and you know, just like super awkward. And they couldn't have been nicer. They were the most genuinely just awesome people. It was just so great that they were just so willing to just be like, dude, by all means, let's take a picture for sure. Absolutely, happy to see you here. You know, they just couldn't have been nicer, and everybody there was just so awesome. It was just so cool, and I kind of wanted to show a few of the things that I got while I was out there. I spent more than I wanted to, but at the same time, with everything that I got and the deals that I got, I saved more than I would have if I had paid full price. So it's some of the things I just couldn't say no to. I'm super excited because I got a lot of stuff that I really want to get. The two things that I really wanted to get there, I wanted to get a complete in-box copy of Final Fantasy III on Super Nintendo, because it's a favorite game, obviously, but I still don't have a complete box copy. I'll never get rid of my original cartridge. That's one that'll stay with me forever. But if I can find a complete box copy, I'd like to get that. Unfortunately, they did not have... They had one that I saw, and it was just in pretty rough shape, so I decided to pass on it. And I don't really regret passing on it, because I can wait. It's not like I have no way to play the game or anything. It's more just kind of like a cool, I finally have it in my collection kind of thing. So I'm not too worried about that. But they did have the other thing I was looking for, and that was a copy of Lolo 2 on the NES. Not a super well-known series from at least the people that I know. My family knows it because we grew up with that stuff. But I have 1 and 3, and I plan on doing a review on those games at some point, whether it'll be all together or separately. I haven't decided yet. But I'd like to kind of like just give my thoughts on it because they're such fun games. It's a cool little puzzler. Yeah. So enough about that stuff. The stuff that I got. So first, N64 memory card because I needed it, and you'll see why in a second. But there was I'm assuming they were one of the sponsors maybe, but there's a brewery, a barcade out there where it's called Two Plumbers Brewery and Arcade, and they're basically just a bar with an arcade in it. And they had a presence at the con itself, but then the next day for the VIP members, they also had a get-together where the Metal Jesus crew and everybody was there, and just hanging out, having beers. They got barbecue for everybody, and played arcades and drank beer, and it was a good time. They had a little coin dispenser that they were handing out, so when I snagged one of those, I thought it was kind of neat. We'll go with these first, sure. One of the first things that I picked up, because I saw it and I had heard about it from another podcast that I listened to called Is It Worth It? And I plan on doing a video on that as well, on podcasts that I listen to. But Blaine, the guy that runs it, Blaine J, he has mentioned this a few times. I've never played it, but I saw this copy and I was like, it's in pretty good condition, and the guy had it listed for like $80, ended up selling it to me for $50, and it's called Paladin's Quest on Super Nintendo. I have not played it myself, like I said, but it looks like a standard RPG for the Super Nintendo, which is right up my alley, and just the box art is kind of neat, and the bag. I miss this kind of stuff. I miss getting so excited about box art. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't. Maybe it's because I was a kid and it was all just so crazy new to me at the time. But like now, I don't know. I don't get as excited about the box art and stuff. So it's cool that I got this though, and I'm glad I got a good decent deal on it. Another one. Aladdin on Sega Genesis. I haven't said much about this game, but I remember it so well, and I remember trying to rent it every single time I saw it. It is so good. Like, it's just your standard action platformer, but man, it's just so fun. I think I hear people like having arguments over which one's better, the Super Nintendo or the Sega one. I don't know generally which one's considered better, but the one that I played the most was the Sega one, and I absolutely love it. I'd like to get the Lion King at some point too, because I remember having fun with that one as well. Really happy to have that. Another one. The last Mario Kart game that I need. I believe this is the only one I didn't have. They had it for a decent price. Looked inside, came with a manual and everything. Mario Kart Double Dash on the GameCube. I played this so much with my old roommates. It's just such a fun game. A lot of people consider this to be the best Mario Kart game out there. I wouldn't argue against them because it is really, really fun. All right. Next up is a game that I am really looking forward to getting into. Ogre Battle 64. As I said, I needed a memory card for something, and this game, I've never played an Ogre Battle game, but I've always wanted to, and this one was not super cheap, but it was a good price, and I was like, yeah, I'll pick it up. So I'm super excited about that. And then I also picked up Turtles in Time on Super Nintendo. Actually, I got those two together. And then the guy gave me a little bit off for getting them together. I played this when I was at the barcade afterwards the next day, and I love this game so much. All the early Nintendo and Super Nintendo and Ninja Turtle games were really, really fun. So it's a blast, a good beat 'em up. The last Super Nintendo game I got, mainly because it's in good condition and the label looks good. I know the game is hot garbage, but it's Lagoon on Super Nintendo, and it was super cheap, and I didn't own it, and I love RPGs, so I went for it. Why not? And we got some regular Nintendo games. First one is Goonies 2. If I remember correctly, I don't know that we ever got the first one here in the States. Or maybe there wasn't a first one, or something like that. But I know this was the one that came out here. And I played it a couple of times at a friend's house when I was a kid. And I never really understood what you were supposed to do. I know now, you got to go around and you got to rescue all the kids. But it was just a fun game to just run around and just explore. And it was a good game. So I picked it up. Next one, kind of the same vein. Totally Rad. I don't hear too many people talking about it, but it's actually, if I remember correctly, like, you're this kid who can, like, morph into different creatures and things, and that's like a platformer it just got so much going for it. I can't do it justice by explaining because I haven't played it in years, but I definitely remember the label, and I definitely remember playing the game, and obviously who could forget a name like Totally Rad. My cousin was the one that had introduced me to this, and I saw it, again, good price, so I picked it up. I'll have to play it again, because I want to remind myself how it is. Like I said before, Lolo 2 I was able to get, and do yourself a favor, look up the Lolo series, because if you see it, you're going to be like, this looks really dumb. But if you play it, it's just such a fun little puzzle game, and can be very frustrating at times as well. But I always have such a great time with that series. And then one of the ones I didn't have, Mega Man 3 on NES. Had a pretty good price on it, and I picked it up. Everybody knows Mega Man 3. It's been released 1,000 times over, but I didn't have it on NES. And I never actually owned it on NES. The only time I ever played it as a kid was when I rented it. 2 and 4, believe it or not, were the only games that I ever owned myself on NES. Last thing, this thing is so cool, and I'll do a close-up with the camera so you can see it better. But this is a Nintendo 64. It came with all the hookups and everything. It works. It's just, this guy was basically like, he tricked him out. He customized him and everything himself, and painted him, put decals on him and stuff. And I asked him because he had a whole table full of Nintendo 64s and NESs that he had done this stuff to, and I asked him for a business card, because I was like, I'd love to look at more of your stuff, and he's like, honestly, this is the last of it. I'm just trying to get rid of my stock. I'm going to be moving on to something else. So he was selling this stuff at like 70 to 90% off what he would normally charge. So I almost bought 2 because it was so cool, and I was like, I don't need to. And that was literally the only thing that held me back, because I didn't need to. So I got this one that's got Link on there riding Epona, and it's just so gorgeous. There was a Mega Man one that I had my eye on as well that I was looking to get, but I said no. And I still haven't decided whether I regret that or not, but I'm really glad I got this one. And I've got an adapter that I ordered that Metal Jesus actually did a review on his channel for an adapter that you can hook your older consoles up to your bigger or newer TVs, and it looks a lot better. So I'm waiting on that, but it's like, I guess I have to wait for the next wave of product to come through, so it'll be like a month or two before I get it. I can wait, but I'm still stoked, and especially can't wait to play this, so that's gonna be cool. So yeah, that's everything I picked up there, and seriously, it was such a blast. And if anybody else goes there or has been there or is going again, let me know, because I'd like to hear other stories about how it was for other people too. I had a really, really good time, and I'll definitely be going back again next year. I'm actually also going to be in Houston. I'll be in Texas for Retropalooza at the end of September. And I'm actually meeting a couple of buddies down there that I know from. Never actually met them in real life, but the guys over at Just a Bit Gaming, talk to them pretty regularly. So, and they put out a great podcast. Go check them out as well. But we're going to be going and meeting up down there, and I'm flying this time. This time I drove, so I was able to have my car, so I could bring back as much crap as I wanted to. I'll be flying down there, so I'm going to have to try and save space so I can bring stuff back with me. Either that, or I'm just going to focus on maybe Game Boy games or something. I haven't decided yet. Either way, yeah, thanks for watching, and as always, keep on gaming.